Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 40. We are well into week 6 here, approaching that week 7 mark. Still a long ways to go, obviously 30 days officially speaking. Today I'm going to speak to you guys about protein powders. This is a huge topic. I always get tons of questions about this. And I still see people buying protein powders, which are I really wouldn't suggest purchasing. So there are a lot of good brands out there. Obviously, you know that I carry ATP Labs. This is a Canadian brand, pharmaceutical brand. And so here's a list of things that you want to look for. Number 1, is it pharmaceutical grade? All right, now how do you know if it's pharmaceutical grade? Well, are they abiding by pharmaceutical standards? Do they follow the GMP certification, the goods manufacturing practices, a set of standards that essentially, when you're certified by this standard, you are following a rigorous set of protocols or standards, manufacturing standards, when the product is produced. And these would be standards that the pharmaceutical industry has to follow. So, is it pharmaceutical grade? Number 2, the next thing I would go to, and this is in a list of what I believe to be, or I think is the most important. So I say pharmaceutical grade because we want to, whatever's on the label, we want to actually be in here, right? So we don't want to have a great label but not have a good product inside. So pharmaceutical grade, this is why we want to go there first. Then we go to the label. Okay, well, we have to go to the label, look if it's pharmaceutical grade. Assuming it's pharmaceutical grade, let's look into its purity. All right, so more onto the label here. Per serving, how much? What is the serving size? It doesn't matter what the serving size is, okay? It doesn't matter. The serving size could be 20 grams, 30 grams, 40 grams, 100 grams, it doesn't matter. The question is how much protein, if we're getting a protein powder, how much protein is in there per serving? So what is its purity? So in this case, ATP Labs, we've got 30 grams. And in that 30 grams, we've got 27 grams of protein. So the purity on this is 90%. That is very high. So that is something that you want to look at. Look at the serving size. Okay. A salesperson might say, listen, you're getting whatever, 40 grams of protein per serving. And they might just say, look, that's more protein than the other servings have. Well, yeah, but what is the serving size? You have to look at the serving size and then know the purity. So the serving, it's not about the serving amount, it's about the purity, right? So again, look at the serving size, look at the amount of protein you're getting, just divide the amount of protein you're getting by the serving size times 100, and you'll get the purity on a percentage basis, of course. Number 3, look at the list of ingredients. Okay, so we know it's pharmaceutical grade, awesome. We know that the purity is there, awesome. Now let's go to the ingredients. What do we have here? Well, let's take a look at this one. In terms of the ingredients in the ATP Lab product here, we have got whey protein isolate. And this is grass-fed based whey protein isolate, awesome. In terms of the non-medical ingredients, we've got organic flavors. We've got xanthine gum. Okay, this is a fiber. This is just to thicken it up slightly. And then we've got stevia, organic stevia. So that's it. So we've got 4 ingredients in this. Okay, that's awesome. The less the ingredients, generally speaking, the better off it's going to be. So, little bit of ingredients in here. They all seem to be decent ingredients to my knowledge. There's nothing in here that I would be concerned about. And again, only 4 ingredients, so that's awesome. Okay, including the protein that's in here. The next thing I would look at is the source of protein, because the source of the protein matters. And you could, arguably put this ahead of purity or not. Ideally, we want something that's obviously going to agree with you and is highly bioavailable. We want something that gets assimilated well. We don't want something that just passes through us. All right, so generally speaking, not generally speaking, but if you want something that's bioavailable, you want to get an animal-based protein. Now, this is whey. Sometimes whey doesn't doesn't agree with people. And I'm not just talking about their stomach. They might be allergic to it. They might break out in a rash or something like that. So, you've got to go with something that agrees with you and, of course, is highly bioavailable. So you can get something like a whey protein or a casein-based protein or a beef-based protein, or I've seen milk-based protein. I would try to refrain from something that is got lactose in it, so always go for an isolate, so a milk isolate or a casein isolate or a whey isolate. That way you're not going to get lactose. You can go with, as I mentioned, a beef protein. And I know a lot of people are doing the vegan. This is fine if you don't want to have animal-based, because whatever the reasoning is, if it's for your health, and we're not talking about allergies here, we're not talking about you having an individual problem with it, you just think it's healthier, I would say it's, to my knowledge, it's not, okay, at all. It's definitely not going to be as bioavailable. That means you're going to excrete more of it. If you're having a plant-based protein, you're going to excrete more of that protein. That's more of the protein's going to go through you. Also, with a plant-based protein, you're not going to get as many of those essential amino acids. Okay, those amino acids that we can only get exogenously through the diet. The body cannot make them. So I'm going to highly suggest that you get a animal-based protein. Okay, again, whey or beef-based, something along the lines of that, over vegetarian. Okay, and there are some other things we could consider as well, but those are the four major things that I would look at. Okay, so again, is it pharmaceutical grade? What is its purity? What are the ingredients in there? And of course, what is the source of protein? All right. Okay, that took me 7 minutes. Message of the day on this day 40. We are not in the week of quitting. Of course, hopefully there's not, at least in your world, there will not be a week of quitting. But I am going to remind you guys that success is not final. Failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that counts. It is all about continuing. That is a secret in anything. When you're trying to push towards anything, you've got to continue. Your past does not dictate how well you will do in the future. In fact, the more that you practice, the more likely you will be better at whatever you're trying to do as you move into the future, right? So, again, success is not final. Failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that counts. We've got to keep going. We've got to keep pushing. Every day counts. One foot in front of the other. Okay? Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself. And for the love of God, give some gratitude. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Day 41 tomorrow.